Unless you've been living under a rock, you have to know that.
They're eating the dogs.
And as a sick, twisted wrestling fan, the first thing that pops into my head was Pepper. Poor Pepper. Al Snow's beloved pup that he was forced to eat by his arch nemesis, the Boss Man. How does this happen? Well, it's professional wrestling. And as JR says,
ladies and gentlemen, this is proof anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation.
This feud was my own personal 12 labors. All right, Hercules had to kill the Hydra. He had to clean the stables. He had to steal golden apples. And I had to watch its climax here when Al Snow replaced his head with his canine friend Pepper in the summer of 1999.
Today, we're going to tell you how Boss Man made Al Snow eat Pepper. I'm Johnny Bakeshow. He's Teddy Mongoose. And it's time to call it in the ring. The year is 1999. The WWF is on the hottest streak they've ever been on. You have Stone Cold, The Rock, The Undertaker, the rise of Triple H, all of these stars in the main event scene fighting for the WWF title. But on the other side of the coin, you have the hardcore title scene. It was total crash car style booking with guys like Hardcore Holly, Boss Man, and your crowning champion, Al Snow. So you're probably asking yourself, where does Pepper come into this picture for Al Snow? Al had been known for Head, but Head was attacked by Prince Albert, who put a railroad spike of all things through Head's Head. And Al lost his mind because he couldn't get the voices to stop. I have voices in my head. So we fast forward to the next week where Snow had a match with Boss Man. Snow begged Boss Man to hit him as hard as he could to try to make the voices stop. Mind you, Boss Man was literally hung from Hell in a Cell months earlier at WrestleMania.
And apparently resurrected just to put an end to Al Snow.
Only death can pay for life. So Boss Man handcuffs out of the ropes. He beats him senseless so naturally. That weekend was Fully Loaded 1999, and Al puts the hardcore title on the line against Boss Man.
Brother, as a 14-year-old then, I was worn out by the Big Boss Man by WrestleMania 14, okay? We fast forward, and we together, for some reason, signed on to rewatch the entire first 9 months of 1999 together, okay? And with knowing where this feud is going to end up, you could tell that the genesis of this, man, this was going to be death by 1,000 cuts, because this happened earlier in the summer, and with the payoff being sometime in the autumn.
Oh, we fast forward to Fully Loaded 99. Hardcore champion Al Snow is backstage with Michael Cole, and Al is upset because the railroad spike was driven into Al's head. And we get to the match. Al rushes up the ramp and he begs Boss Man to hit him. Boss Man grabs Head and he just hammers that railroad spike further into Head's head. And Al Snow is literally acting like it's hurting him.
When this happened, I absolutely exploded at this spot. So Boss Man screams, "I'm going to put you out of your misery. I'm going to put you out of your misery." And then he just starts wailing on Head, just punching the mannequin head, dude, going off.
Dude, it's so crazy. Like the things that they were doing in 99, man.
And they are on a rocket ship to the top.
They're literally making so much money.
They're weeks from going public.
Yeah.
And they're beating up a mannequin head. They have a mannequin head acting as a voodoo doll that is causing Al Snow pain.
And so Boss Man ends up throwing Snow all around the entranceway. Snow gets thrown into the lights. They fight backstage where Al is able to hit Boss Man with a cookie sheet. He throws a pot of hot coffee all over Boss Man and then suplexes Boss Man through a table.
There's a dude on a payphone here, and he just had to bail. And it's these little time capsules that I absolutely love, man. Like, I don't mean to be that guy, but these Zoomers will never know the struggle of just singing like, do I got 50 cents to call my girlfriend or whatever, or get me a what are those calling cards or whatever from way too much money from some kiosk in the mall. So seeing homeboy on the cell phone, on the telephone rather, on the payphone, bailing out of there was hilarious. And as they go to the back, King screams.
Hey, that's the punt, pass, and kick sign.
And literally he says that as I'm reading or saying to myself, dude, that's a punt, pass, and kick sign. Excellent.
Lawler is just so wonderful throughout this whole entire story. I cannot wait to talk about him later. But we go backstage and Boss Man grabs the first down marker, yells that it's fourth down, and he kicks Al right in the guts. And that's not even my favorite part of the match. My favorite part is whenever they try to run him over with the golf cart, but then the golf cart wouldn't start.
Yeah, that cart betrayed Boss Man like Hulk Hogan's motorcycle would to him a few years down the line.
Yeah.
And then to add insult to injury, he gets hit by a plant, like shrubbery, not like a person in the audience, right?
Yeah.
So he's just also just getting whipped over and over with this belt, and to have nothing in, like, no crowd to feed off of, while you're just getting whipped with any piece of leather, gimmick, or whatever, it has to be terrible. And in a past life, okay, I worked the independent scene, meaning that me and a couple of my buddies filmed some matches in our yard. And I was in a hardcore match with a fella that will not be named. And he was just landing the softest, punches missing by half a foot, everything else. And I don't know if I did something wrong to him or if he thought this won't hurt, but he took an actual 9-iron and cocked back, and he goes from hitting me with like a wiffle ball bat, like just tap, 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 to taking this 9-iron and going full swing right into my kidney. Dude, it's my organs stopped functioning for minutes on end, it felt like. And so just think about me taking this one hit in my late teens versus these men just getting whipped and then nobody's there to care about it. Like, I actually can empathize there.
The only thing that cares is the punt, pass, and kick sign.
You got that, or the homeboy that ran away from the payphone.
Yes.
Going, ooh, ooh. Yeah, oh.
They fight out into the parking lot.
And we get a near fall after a brick shot. All right, you hit a man with the brick at 2 count.
And Al's almost run over by a car driving by. Snow is handcuffed to a metal fence. The Boss Man beats him with the nightstick, and he's counted out. And we have a new hardcore champion. And then Boss Man runs the whole way from the outside, the whole way back into the ring, and the cameraman's just following him.
Yeah, we should note here that Al is pinned while sitting straight up, but handcuffed against the gate. Like, I literally just wrote, like, what the heck? Like, what are we doing here, man?
It makes no sense. You literally have to be laying flat on your back to get pinned, except in a hardcore title match,
where you could just be sitting in a 90-degree angle created between head and feet. And as long as the shoulders are flat against the fence, we're good to go. Good to go.
But this is where we insert Pepper. The following night on Raw, Al was hearing voices backstage, but couldn't understand anything but a little pup running around backstage, and our stars are aligning for our new friends. So we move on to Raw is Jericho, the night that Chris Jericho debuted on Raw, but that's not even the biggest story here. Boss Man in an absolute stinker. I mean, a terrible tables match with the Road Dogg. Al Snow runs down with a dog carrier, hits Boss Man over the head with it, and it's implied that Pepper was in the carrier.
But doesn't the door pop here and expose absolutely no dog?
It flies off into the first row.
Yeah, no dog, all kennel.
The next week on Raw, Snow faced off with Road Dogg, and our favorite dog sitter, Jerry Lawler, is watching over Pepper at the commentary table. The Boss Man hits Snow over the head with the nightstick, and it costed Snow the match. So we're all set for a hardcore title match at SummerSlam between the Boss Man and Al Snow.
Yeah, in this match, it's the same thing over and over and over. It's not like these guys aren't working. It's
Nope.
not like they're not doing things that hurt. It's just it's laborious now.
If you've seen one of these hardcore title matches in 99, you've literally seen all of them because they're the same recipe.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then to add on top of it, you have Road Dogg on commentary here at this SummerSlam title match. Al Snow then climbs up on these cherry pickers and then he just yeets himself off of them onto Boss Man as soon as he comes out for his entrance. And then they end up brawling backstage and Boss Man tosses Pepper in the dog crate down the hallway.
And this is WWF taking on the world here, right? You got the Canadian School Board, Bob Costas, and now it's just begging PETA, hey, come get some. What do you want?
They fear nobody.
Nobody.
So they continue their fight to the outside again. Literally the same thing that they did at Fully Loaded. They fight into a bar named Blues Alley, and then they go into the bathroom. Road Dogg, mind you, is still following them on commentary, which is really interesting thing to do, but it was just annoying after a while.
Yeah, I noted that it was hilarious that we can imply that Road Dogg had on his best outfit here because he knew that they were going to a bar. And so you got to have on your Sunday best, which for him was a white Tommy Hilfiger shirt and white shorts and a white or a black fanny pack or whatever that deal was. Also with some Team J's.
Yeah.
Was that the Team J's one, right?
Jays, yeah.
Yeah, bless him. So also there's a fella here that's entering the restaurant while they're fighting, and this is pre-cell phone camera and all that. So you just got a dude that is just full mark, and he gets taken right out, and then on camera, off camera should be, but still in the corner, he's getting a good like stern talking to the entire time. Like you could tell that he was really messing up somebody's business.
Yeah, and while that guy's getting yelled at, Al Snow is hitting moonsaults off the bar onto Boss Man through a table. They fight throughout the entire bar. Boss Man pushes the Road Dogg away. Road Dogg hits Boss Man over the back of the head with the nightstick. Al Snow smashes Boss Man's balls with a set of pool balls, and Al Snow retains his title. So the same thing that happened at Fully Loaded, Al Snow picks it up, runs back into the arena to go back to Pepper, but the BWO of total randomness is messing around with him, and Al beats the absolute tar out of him.
Is there a more Vince finish than balls to the balls?
Oh, he had
Like,
me back there. Oh, Al, that's the finish.
yeah, exactly. Thinking and it was so clever and so hilarious. Like you have Pat Patterson, who is like the master of the creative finish. And you know that Vince is like, oh, Pat, I got this one.
Yep.
Balls to the balls.
Yes. He absolutely was saying that backstage. So after SummerSlam, we got to fast forward now to the first SmackDown where poor Pepper again, man, he was dog napped the following night on Raw when Snow was in his match with Road Dogg. Boss Man calls out Al Snow. He says he doesn't have to worry about Pepper as long as he doesn't bite Boss Man anymore. Boss Man says he wants a title match now and he will give Pepper back. He says he will give Pepper hard times, though, if he doesn't show up for the title match. So Al Snow struts down to the ring and they have their match. So Boss Man ends up coming to the ring and he's holding Pepper.
I mean, Pepper has a thimble on his nose at this point in time.
They put all of these gimmicks into the ring.
And dude, there's this bump. You say gimmicks. There is a Al Snow ladder bump that looked absolutely brutal. At least this was in front of people. I did want to say that. Like this wasn't backstage in front of Payphone Man and the dude that was watching the coffee or whatever. But I do much prefer this, all of this happenings being in the ring rather than outside. I actually thought that this was one of their better matches.
It was. And just when Al Snow goes to reunite with his friend Pepper, the Boss Man hit him over the head with the nightstick and Boss Man wins the title.
Yeah, and when this happened, the notes that I was taking, I wrote Al Snow's dead.
He literally looked dead. He literally laid there for minutes and the show's just going on.
Yep.
So Boss Man ends up going back to grab Pepper, takes Pepper with him, and Snow, once he finally does come to after just minutes of laying there, he looks all over the ring for Pepper.
How about this as a rib? As part of this storyline, when Pepper goes missing, Snow makes posters with a phone number to call with Pepper's location. The phone number is actually Val Venus's home phone number.
You're joking. I can't even believe that.
Home phone, answering machine, not only shown on Raw, but is literally shown then in segments on SmackDown and everything else of him holding a sign up that
Yes.
has Val Venus's home phone number just right on there, dude.
Imagine Val Venus getting home and just seeing his answering machine just so full.
And the bad thing is, at that point in time, you have to manually delete every single one. There's no swiping.
Ah. Oh, that had to be incredible. I just imagine all the boys sitting around in the back, and Taker's like, "This is what you're gonna do, pal. You're gonna put his number on a piece of paper, and then if he doesn't delete all of them manually, he's going to wrestler's court."
And the sentence would be a bottle of Jack Daniels and a couple of cases of Bud Heavy.
Yep, absolutely.
He probably got sentenced just for having his number on there. Shouldn't have made your number public, pal.
Yes. But this is where our story takes a turn for the worse, and it, as if it hasn't happened already, but on Raw, where Snow has the posters, Boss Man says he shouldn't have kidnapped Pepper and that he wants Snow to come to his hotel room on Raw and he's going to give Pepper back. And so we fast forward to SmackDown, and Snow does show up at Boss Man's hotel room, and Pepper isn't there because Boss Man says he's taking him to the groomers and he wants to have them all nice and cleaned up. And Boss Man really wants to make up for what he did. And he wants Al Snow to sit down, and Boss Man is holding this like sterling silver, beautiful serving tray. And he went out and got the finest food in Massachusetts.
We have Snow calling him Ray here because they're off the clock. And the funny thing is, he's called him Ray, but Boss Man's in full gear.
Yes.
He's in full gimmick, dude, and it's so excellent. So we call him by his real name, but Boss Man can't be wearing like a t-shirt and shorts.
Yes.
He's got a halfway unbuttoned police shirt and SWAT pants on.
You got to live the gimmick, brother. Al is pleading to give Pepper back, and if he eats, he will leave and he's going to be back soon. So Al starts eating, and Boss Man is just standing there staring at him. And he says, "Make sure you don't get one of those paws stuck in your teeth," and says that it's 100% grade A pepper.
Yeah, dude, I need to say there is way too much meat on this plate for being a Chihuahua.
Well,
I don't mean to be insensitive for pet consumption, but like Pepper can't have more than 2 ounces of meat on him. And it's the biggest serving tray you've ever seen. And I'm so irritated because Boss Man says about paws stuck in your teeth and grade A pepper. How do you not say, "How do you like that pepper steak"? How don't you say that?
well, Jerry Lawler says that afterwards.
Of course, because Jerry gets it.
Man, Jerry was just hit Jerry's face when they pan back to him. It's almost like one of those moments where you can't believe they actually did that. And it's not even the worst thing that they've ever done on WWF television or will do on television, but it's just one of those that feels like one of the first ones that they did in a long time since like the Pillman stuff, where you're like, what did we just see on television?
Yeah, and even while all of this debauchery is going on, Boss Man just throws all the food onto the bed, which
Yeah.
I thought was just as abhorrent. Like, somebody got to clean that up.
That's his hotel room. Why would you do that to your hotel room?
I wouldn't. You know what? If you're willing to, in storyline, kill, skin, and grill a Chihuahua, I guess you'll throw food on your own bed.
I guess we need to talk about the hotel room too. Was that a shoot hotel room? Like, was somebody riding with him, which is why he had 2 beds? I hope that was Val Venus's bed, like they were riding together. I think doubled up on the rib on Venus.
Dude, it looked so real. It did. And the room, like, again, not the idea that the Boss Man made a gourmet meal out of a stolen Chihuahua served on a bed of lo mein, but the actual room itself. What I didn't understand was it's just standard double bed on the right,
Yeah.
but then like kitchen and serving area on the left.
It's like,
It was literally this concoction of this 5-star hotel this way, and then like Super 8 to the right.
Yeah,
Very strange, but it
very.
looked so real. It really did.
It really did look real. We're picking out stuff in the room, but whenever Al Snow realizes that he's eating pepper and he goes to stand up, but his belt loops are hooked to the chair and he takes the chair with him to puke over in the corner. Oh, I couldn't. And then the worst part is whenever Bossman takes a bite and he says, tastes like chicken.
Yeah, this scene went from like gross in practice just to gross watching. Snow looks so gross whenever he starts making himself vomit. Like
Yeah.
his face is all like that, that puffy, and there's just stuff all over him. Like I couldn't even look at the screen here. And then Bossman is just looking at this like wretched, vile face and goes, "Can you dig that?"
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't.
So RIP to Pepper. Pepper, this isn't even the worst part of our story because it only gets worse. You think that this is bad? Just hold on because the wrestling part of this gets worse. And there seems to be a divide in the fans. So let us know in the comments what you think about the death of Pepper because I've seen everything on the internet that this was actually good to this absolutely terrified me as a fan growing up.
And it really, I guess it would depend on when you would have seen it.
Right.
And either being terrible or what am I watching, or I guess in some way compelling. I mean, I hate to say it, as much as I hated watching all of these matches, I did want to see what we were going to do next.
But it's not over. The fallout,
It's not over.
the death of Pepper was Al Snow challenging Bossman to a Kennel from Hell match at Unforgiven 1999. And you're asking, what is a Kennel from Hell match? Well, you take the big blue original steel cage, you stick Hell in a Cell over the top of it, you fill the ringside with rabid Rottweilers, and you have a big, steamy pile of dog crap, pun fully intended. But before we get there, we have a Pepper on a pole match. The remains of Pepper were casted above the ring on a pole that Snow thankfully successfully recovered.
Yeah, I watched hours and hours, it felt like, of Bossman and Snow, and I somehow missed this. I didn't know, I didn't recall that this happened.
I didn't either.
And yeah, I'm glad that I missed it, but I feel like I still need to go back and watch it. It's like True Blood syndrome. Like
Right.
I hated True Blood so much for the last 2 seasons, but I needed to see it to see what happened.
Yeah.
Watch me watch Pepper on a pole here in about 20 minutes.
So Al was able to hold a funeral service for Pepper, but Boss Man came back and peed on his grave.
I
Like,
actually remember that. I do remember that.
when is enough enough? Like, how is Boss Man getting away with all this stuff?
Well, just wait because he's going to pull away with somebody's daddy in a casket here pretty soon
Oh
too.
my word. So you fast forward here to our end. The main event of our story is Unforgiven 1999, the Kennel from Hell match. Basically, the rules are you have to escape both cages and these rabid, meat hungry Rottweilers to safety.
Yeah, so I'll take the wheel here for a minute, unfortunately. So we begin with the Boss Man promo, and basically he doesn't regret anything that he did to Pepper. He says that Michael Cole will be the only one regretting anything. He threatens to assault Michael Cole with the nightstick, and we're off to a hot start here. So then he says that he spent his life dealing with people inside of cages, and tonight will be no different.
Oh
So
my gosh.
speaking of him and the cop gimmick, right? Because that's what he's referring to. I wonder if Nails was actually a Terminator. Okay, here's my theory. Sent back through time, not to, save John Connor or kill John Connor or whatever the storyline was here, but rather to eliminate the Boss Man so that we wouldn't have to watch him in 1999.
It's a great theory.
Thank you. Thank you. Because once I heard him say about dealing with men in cages, I immediately thought of Boss Man. And I'm thinking, oh my God, dude, he is literally a cyborg sent back to save us from what happens later. So Lawler doesn't know what the rules are here. JR is at least faking like he does, which is hilarious. And the King's all confused, dude. He's going, a cage? inside a cell? Like he has no idea what's going on. They cut to Snow's backstage promo, and he called Boss Man fat 3 times in like 12 seconds, which I laughed so hard at, like just because he obviously had no other material than the man's weight.
Yeah.
So Snow's coming to the ring while they're still making this contraption. And that is really a sight to see.
Yes.
And not only was that a sight to see, but I wanted to know, was this Al Snow shirt on the WWE shop?
Thank you. What a fit. That
Yes.
shirt's amazing.
It's an incredible shirt, man. It really is. And I feel like I've never seen it before and won't see it again. But I'm gonna hop onto the bay and see if there's something going on with that.
If
So
it hasn't been done, we need God's Chillin', Matt Botvin, or Stash Pages. You got to get on that immediately.
tag them up, man, and then send people to their stuff to their pages to buy their stuff.
So good. Got it on right now.
I love it. So the boss man is doing this slow walk to the ring as if he knows that I'm going to be really irritated watching this 25 years later. Like all smug, knowing that, like, man, am I going to make Mongoose angry here?
Yeah.
And then Snow's in the ring, dude. He's doing calisthenics before a blood war. And I thought that was hilarious. That there's no like psyching himself up with like, just snarling and
Yeah.
no, he's doing like jumping jacks and lunges and knee bends and things like that.
And then we start the match, and the dogs aren't even out there yet. We just ring the bell. We're just going for it.
Yeah. The cage in the cage is assembled, and then they start it. King wants to know where the dogs are. And once King asked where the dogs were, I legit knew that I was about to watch a kennel in a cell match or whatever it's called. I forgot that there was even supposed to be dogs there.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, oh, we're just going to fight in this cage, right?
Yep. And then when they actually do come out, they actually get a big pop, and then they just start peeing and pooping all over ringside. It's a legendary tale. The dogs even are mating on the ringside. It is just a sight to behold. They don't show any of this on Peacock, by the way.
Right. And what I don't get here is Pepper's a Chihuahua. So why are there Rottweilers everywhere? Like, why aren't there 600 Chihuahuas, right? Like, this would be like you stealing and making me eat my kitty, and then I make you fight in a cage of lions or tigers.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it made no sense. The first dog walks out, and he immediately, as soon as he walks in, he starts peeing all over the floor. The crowd couldn't have been any more dead. We're getting boring chants, but I popped to the moon because JR is scaling the cage like Spider-Man, and JR just buries Al Snow. And he says, literally minutes into this, he says that the whole match was Snow's idea, and there's just so much to this match that's just a disaster. They're off to an awful start.
Yeah, both of these guys, 2 minutes in, had to feel like it's time to go home. They have to know that this is a disaster. Like, I'm just thinking seconds feel like minutes, minutes feel like hours. Like, I genuinely felt bad for them because they had to know that it was dying a death, man.
Oh, yeah, and the match is only 12 minutes long, which is even worse. They did this for 12 minutes, and it felt like an hour.
It did. I was just going to say it felt like an hour. My God.
The dogs didn't care about the wrestlers. They were only literally concerned with each other. They just barking back and forth at each other.
Yeah, and I can't take how dead quiet everything is except just the dogs. That's it. Dogs are going off, and that's all.
And then the other thing that doesn't make any sense in this match, Boss Man just starts cutting holes in the top of the cell, and he's trying to climb out the top. Al Snow's Tarzaning around the cell. There's a million gimmicks everywhere.
Yeah, and then takes one of those gimmicks, cuts off Boss Man from cutting the ceiling out, and he hit him with what I assume is a dog bone. Nobody knew.
No.
It looked like it hurt really bad, and I think it exploded. And then all of a sudden there's powder somehow. King makes a contraband reference or whatever. Yep. And then I'm wondering, like, are the dogs even still out here? Because it's quiet and we don't see them on TV anywhere. And then that dog bone or whatever, it looked so brutal then whenever Snow took it upside his head. Like, this was just stiff and rotten and terrible.
And then to top off Lawler here, he just turns into Steve Irwin at one point, and I exploded. It was so great. And then we get the softest shovel to the head, and the crowd booed it immediately. And that made me laugh right away again, too.
Yeah, and it's apropos that the shovel was the weapon here because if anything ever needed to be buried, right? And we got a shovel right there in the ring. But right before that shovel shot, I think Snow tried to feed Boss Man's arm to the dogs.
Yes, he
Like
did.
he just had it dangling out there. That could have gone terribly wrong.
Well, yeah, but the dogs are just barking at each other. They never looked up one time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But I'm just saying, if one of them were paying any attention,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? The big boss man wouldn't have anything. If you ever take a trip to the man with no fingers, like that's what the song would have been changed to. So
At that point, he kind of deserved it.
well, you're absolutely right about that. He's a vile human here. But even though that shovel shot, like you said, was so gentle, I just it still had to sting. And that made me feel even worse for Snow because it looked so bad and it got booed. And the dude just got hit in the head with a shovel. Like it couldn't have felt good. And the worst part is after Boss Man gives him this love tap with the shovel, Jim Ross immediately screams, "He's mean as all get up." And I'm thinking, dude, he's actually pretty considerate. Like he was kind with that shot.
Yes. And then out of nowhere, Al Snow pulls a bag out, pulls head out of the bag, hits Boss Man over the head with it, escapes the cage to win, and head's just lying in the ring while Al Snow is out at the ramp. He left poor head in there with Boss Man.
Yeah, I saw it the other way because once I saw that head was back, I was like, oh, so you're gone and now probably forgotten, Pepper. So sorry we did this for you.
And JR said it perfectly to the end.
Well, folks, we have just seen the first and maybe the last Hell in a Cell matchup. This Kennel from Hell King. Oh,
We should give the 10 bell salute here to poor Pepper. But my word, the best way to sum up this match is one of the dog handlers going out and up the ramp literally tripped over his dog. And that was literally, you couldn't have summed up this match any better than that.
Yeah, the big boss man is our biggest loser here. So far in 1999, he was murdered by a hanging in a Hell in a Cell and then beaten by Al Snow in a kennel match. So this poor fella in cells just don't jive this year. And after the match, he was angry, but I did want to note that he was standing on his own 2 feet and those feet weren't dangling above the ring while he had a noose around his neck.
I guess that's one way to look at it.
So you take that as a W.
You can't hang from the ring if you're cutting the ceiling out.
Exactly. So he's actually levels above right here. So my man, as a storyline, what are you grading? And I'm saying as a storyline, not as a match. What are you grading this Pepperhead Boss Man Snow deal?
I can't give it enough thumbs down. Double thumbs down.
I'm only going 1. And the reason I'm only going 1 is I hate the matches. I hate everything about it. And I really like talking about it. So it's only 1 because I did like talking about it, but dude, I never want to watch it again.
Absolutely not. I just can't let it slide. And that's why I got the double thumbs down for me. And this isn't even, like you said, this isn't the worst thing that Boss Man does this year. Literally a month later, he's hauling someone's dead father out in a casket across the cemetery, man. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more of these wild and wacky wrestling stories. I'm Johnny Bakeshow.
And I'm Teddy Mongoose.
And that's how you call it in the ring.